So is there anything else you're working on that you would like people to know about?
Yes, there is, Keith. There's one other thing that I would like to add to this wonderful conversation and podcast. I started a group with Baby G, the other lead singer of Shinobi, or the real super lead singer of Shinobi. We started our own group. It's like a hip hop group. We don't have a name. We're a duo, and we have 3 songs done that sound amazing. And I just wanted to just put that out into the ether for people to just percolate on.
You're listening to the Unemployed Bartender Podcast with your host, Keith Carter.
They've already clicked off of the show.
You know, I haven't listened to many podcasts.
It's riveting for your listeners. You do realize this, right?
Yeah, I don't know. What else do you want to talk about?
Do you put like little outtakes in the intro of your podcast?
All of this can be cut out. It's pretty much just a podcast. New episodes every Friday. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter at the UB Podcast. All right, welcome back to the Unemployed Bartender Podcast. It's me, your host, Keith Carter. Today, I'm joined by a very special guest. Really excited to have Mr. Doobie Duke Sims here, frontman for the band with the greatest sticker game in all of music, Shinobi Ninja. Super excited to have you here, bud.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that intro.
Hey, you're quite welcome. A man quite worthy of a wonderful intro. So, welcome to the podcast. It's been a minute since we've had a conversation until I called you the other day to invite you on the podcast. But what you've been up to since Corona has taken over our lives and changed everything that we know?
Well, I started my own YouTube channel, Doobie Duke Sims, youtube.com/Doobie Duke Sims. I started a reaction channel. I mean, it's my channel. I've been doing a lot of reaction videos, as well as, I put out like my own song, a solo song every month. I started my own clothing line called Snow Milk, which is made from 100% real snow milk. And what else have I been doing? Just keeping the studio. I have my own studio, Willie B Labs. You can check that on Instagram. Willie B Labs. It's a recording studio and a print shop. And I've been keeping that going. We started a show, like a reality docuseries we started filming. So a couple of my friends of mine do work in reality television, and they started filming me, and kind of switched from me to the studio. So that's been rad. And just working on my dad chops, you know what I mean? Just being the best father that I can be.
So it sounds like you've been keeping yourself busy. You got a lot of projects going, doing some solo stuff. I recall reading somewhere through the grapevine that Shinobi Ninja might have a new album coming out pretty soon. You want to tell us a little bit about what's going on there on that front?
Yeah, so we recorded it in a bunch of different studios over the last 3 years. We did some sessions at the Village Studios in Los Angeles. We actually were in Frank Zappa's room with Frank Zappa's Baby Snakes guitar, which is on 2 tracks. That was rad. That's where they did Smashing Pumpkins, Fleetwood Mac, all types of cool stuff.
That's cool.
We did one song in Long Island where they did the Public Enemy, whatever that super famous album is. We did some in Brooklyn. It was, it's been the weirdest Shinobi Ninja album because it's been the longest amount of time recording. It was 2 years that we recorded it, and then it was in all these different studios. So it's been, we've been a band for 12 years. So to even be talking about a new album is like a blessing. And this album has just the biggest space between, because it just has its own story. But yeah, blessed to say that we have a new album coming out. It's got 10 tracks. They're all rad. I mean, there's some of the best songs that we've ever done. I'm gonna just say flat out, there's 2 songs that are some of the best songs that I've ever been associated with, in no matter what I've done. With Shinobi Ninja, outside of Shinobi Ninja, there's just 2 songs that I'm just those are some of the best songs that I've maybe ever heard in my life. And I'm just end scene.
I can't wait to get a listen to. So just for our listeners, so they don't have to Google you, which they're going to anyway, but just a quick synopsis. What's Shinobi Ninja? Tell us, what is the band?
Shinobi Ninja is a band we started in 2008. It's a multiracial band. It's we have a female lead singer and a male lead singer. It's hip hop, it's rock, it's metal, it's reggae. So it's a mix of ethnicities, sexes, music genres, and We've been around since 2008. We started it. We've had a good amount of success. We haven't been as successful as maybe the Red Hot Chili Peppers, but who has? You know what I mean? So, but yeah, Google.
What album is this? What released number album is this that's coming out soon?
This will be number 4.
Okay. So, and I know previously you guys you've had a couple songs get some pretty serious airplay. I know you had a song "Genuine" in the show "She's Gotta Have It" on Netflix.
Yep, that's Spike Lee. That was a cool.
Love that show. So that's super cool. When I saw that, I was like, okay. I just recently rewatched it, just because I saw the movie a couple months ago. A buddy of mine, Anthony Ramos, is in that, and I had to go check him out again. And you also had a spot in NBA 2K12. Is that right?
NBA 2K12. Our song "Rock Hood" was in that. We had a song in the movie A Haunted House 2, Marlon Wayne's movie. So, we've had songs in video games. We've had songs in television. We've had songs in movies. We've been on MTV, Fuse. We've been in Billboard magazines. All types of different things.
But more than anything, you're known for the stickers that pepper the entire every square inch of New York City, I believe, and probably a lot of other cities in this country. Tell me how that started. Like what started that whole thing, and then how did it just kind of spiral out?
The sticker game is like, I don't know how it became so big, but it was just repetition. I think some of my friends said that the reason why it got so famous is because it never changed. It just was very consistent, pink and blue.
Yeah.
But we started it just like any band would do anything, just on self-promotion. But I think just the consistency of just like year after year after year of just pink and blue stickers, like over and over. And then not just New York, but like touring. And then just doing the same thing every venue. I mean, I just took it personal. It was like, I grew up in Brooklyn watching the Warriors. And if you remember the Warriors, it was one dude's job. Every time they went to a new borough, his job was to hit the W. I took that to be like a personal job, but it's like, as soon as we get to the venue, I'm going to the bathroom. I'm sticking up the bathroom. I'm hitting up all the venues. As soon as we get there, I'm hitting up the whole block. I'm hitting up New York. I'm hitting up every borough, everywhere I go, and the same thing for the other members. And I guess also it became so known in New York, but also it ended up in like shows. Like it's in Marvel. What was the Marvel movie? Not the last one, but
Infinity War.
Yeah, Infinity Wars. It's in Uncut Gems, the Adam Sandler movie that just came out. So because
I just saw, a great movie, by the way.
Yeah, so because it's everywhere in New York, that anytime they film in New York, it ends up in a movie or a TV show. So it's like it just adds up on itself.
Yeah, no, anytime I've ever mentioned you, they're like, hey, the band Shinobi Ninja, because I like to talk about my friends and promote their well-being and whatnot. And they were like, oh, I'm not quite sure. And then I show them a picture of the sticker, and they're like, okay, yeah, I totally know those guys. So it's definitely, like I said, one of the best sticker games I've ever seen. Talked about being from Brooklyn and born here. What's the difference between Brooklyn from when you were a kid? You grew up in Bensonhurst, right?
Mm-hmm.
To kind of what we saw right up to COVID. What's the difference? Because obviously Brooklyn is a shell of itself right now, as is most cities in this country. But like, what was the difference between kind of growing up here and watching this city go from what it was to what it became?
Well, you know what? I just watched on Netflix. They got a new original series called, I think it's called Fear City or whatever it is. It's on Netflix right now. It's about the mob.
Yeah, I watched that last week.
Yeah, so I just watched the first episode yesterday, but that was pretty much how I grew up in the 80s and the 90s. It was like the crack era, but it was also the mob era. So like the streets were very violent and scary, but it also felt like normal to be around such like racial tensions. Like it felt normal because it was so all the time. So I grew up in a very like violent, racist place, but yeah, I don't really know what to say about it. Brooklyn is everybody. So it was like, nothing ever felt weird to me that like everybody around me was either like Russian or Italian or Jewish or Muslim or Chinese, or like everybody was just cool. And we all played basketball or handball together, and there would be fights and some people might get stabbed and, things would happen. And, the high school I went to was like hell high, and I dropped out of that high school. And I don't know, man, it was just crazy times. And then, well, the neighborhood I grew up in is all Chinese now, but Williamsburg and the hipster era. I also grew up in that era of the early 2000s going into the 2010s, the hipster era. And then the 2010s to the 2020s, where the hipster era became like the normalcy, cool era. And that's where kind of we are now, where it's just kind of cool and everybody knows Brooklyn. But where I grew up, it was a little bit more like scary, dangerous-y.
What do you think growing up in a situation like that, what kind of impact do you think that had on your approach to life and your interactions with people and just your journey from growing up in Brooklyn?
The thing about growing up in Brooklyn is that you learn respect, because if you don't have respect, somebody's going to punch you in the face. And that's like, that's why you have people like Mike Tyson, because you just learn that. It's just like you walk down the wrong block and you say the wrong thing, you're going to get punched in the face. And the thing is, like, they'll punch you in the face, but they might still be your friend after that. Right. So that's the thing about it. It's like you learn respect, when to say things, when to not say things, your eyes, how to use your eyes, control yourself in the streets, the code of the streets, and these type of things. And so when you get older, you can use these things in business if you choose to. You can use these things in business and how you conduct yourself as an adult if you want to. Some people let it take over themselves, where they become so street that all they know is the street. But I thankfully, I got out at a certain point. I went to the city and acclimated myself in the music business and ended up in recording studios and, in a band, toured and did all these different things. So Brooklyn kind of raised me, but it didn't define me in that I got stunted and I got to grow out of it. But I still always maintain that for better or for worse, that mob mentality of like respect, how you conduct yourself, where you sit in the stratus of who's above you, who's below you when you walk into a room, egos, energies like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get that. I kind of had I grew up in Little Rock. If anyone that's listened to the podcast knows, I talk about my hometown, where I'm from, a lot, Little Rock, Arkansas. But back in the 80s, when I was growing up there, it was the height of, like I said, the crack era, but it was also the height of the gang era in the South. Specifically in Little Rock, we had, I'm sure a lot of people have seen it, the Bangin' in the Rock on HBO. That special came out in like 91, 92. Right when we moved, because there was just, my neighbor got stabbed like first day of junior high, and then the next day we were driving out to the country and we bought 80 acres out in the middle of nowhere, 21 miles from the closest school and 3 miles from the closest person. So maybe slight overreaction, but I did spend the first 9 years of my life kind of being around things that, hopefully don't become normal and you don't expect. And I think it kind of changes your outlook and perception of things as you go through life. When you experience not necessarily primary traumas, but secondary and tertiary traumas, where you're experiencing the trauma through somebody else's eyes and their experiences. And that shared experience, I think, can help, it has and does, not always in a great way, shape who we become in the future. Okay, so you're talking, I want to get all the info, all the tea, as the kids say, about Shinobi Ninja. Well, I got you here. Obviously, so you guys have been together for 12 years, but how did you guys meet? Like, are you guys all from Brooklyn? Kind of tell me the genesis story of Shinobi.
Okay, so Alex, the bass player, he's my little brother. He's the guy with the long hair. If you Google, he's the guy with the longest hair. We grew up together. I know Alex since, so basically my sister died when I was 11. She was 7. But when my sister was born, her first daycare was with Alex. And so Alex's mom and my mom, because they took their children to the same daycare, they became best friends. And as they became best friends, I was the big brother that always got pulled along. Now, Alex was always smaller than me, but we grew up, we played baseball. His dad's a musician. So we played our first music together, our first video games together. And so Alex wasn't the original bass player for Shinobi, but when the original bass player for Shinobi left in 2010, Alex took his place because he was already subbing for him when we were going on tour. And that guy, Johnny on the Rocks, couldn't do shows. Johnny on the Rocks and me worked at a recording studio in the Film Center building, which is on 9th Avenue between 44th and 45th Street. You can Wikipedia that. That was my first real job in the music industry. I was hired for $8 an hour to watch the desk at a recording studio / rehearsal studio that Craig Derry, who is a famed vocal coach, vocal coach Alicia Keys, Katy Perry. He was also in the Sugar Hill Gang. If you ever heard the song White Lines, he's the voice of White Lines. And he also played the first percussion on Rapper's Delight. So he was in the Sugar Hill Gang, and he did a vocal class there. And in the vocal class was a girl named Adara, aka Baby G, who became the lead singer of Shinobi. So I used to set up the vocal class, and she was in the vocal class. Now, she danced for Rihanna and P. Diddy and Cassie at that time, and I was just nobody watching the desk for, at this point, $10 an hour. And so I had come up a little bit. So she became the lead singer of Shinobi. Johnny on the Rocks was the original bass player. Once he left, Alex became the bass player. The guitar player, Kid Shreddy, also worked at the studio with me. He was eventually our intern, and then he became the Lord of the Interns, and then he became one of the engineers. So it was me, Johnny on the Rocks, and Kid Shreddy, all working at this recording studio. Now, Kid Shreddy has a twin brother named Terminator Dave, who's the drummer in Shinobi. So he came with him. Kid Shreddy, Terminator Dave, and DJ Axis Powers, who's the DJ in Shinobi, all had a group called Stally and the Wax Machine, with a rapper named Stally, who was signed to Maybach Music, Rick Ross's label. Now, when Stally left their group, I took their group over. The guitar player for their group is a dude named Boris, who was in the group Go-Go Bordello. He didn't want to continue with that group, so I said, okay, he can go. We'll take Johnny on the Rocks. He'll be the new guitar player. And their original bass player, Scott Wax, stayed on for a couple gigs. Once he left, Johnny on the Rocks became the bass player, and that's how it became me, Baby G, Kid Shreddy, his twin brother Terminator Dave, DJ Axis Powers, and Johnny on the Rocks. When Johnny on the Rocks left, Alien Lex became the new bass player, and we've been that same group ever since. We never changed.
Okay, I think besides just Sticker Game Champion, you guys have the names. Y'all got the best names in all of music right now. I think Terminator Dave, Doobie Duke Sims. What else was it? Baby G,
Kid Shreddy,
DJ
DJ Axis Powers. Yeah, good names.
No, that's great. Okay, so we met earlier this year, I believe, or maybe like very end of last year, when you had. I was in the midst of getting this great new clothing brand that was about to rock all of Brooklyn and the world until the world got shut down by coronavirus. But I was needing someone to get some production done, and you were needing some help up at your studio, and we kind of met up and then kind of clicked. And I don't know, you're one of the coolest dudes I met so far in New York. So I really appreciate us meeting. But kind of tell me about tell me a little bit about what you're doing over there at Willie B Labs, because that's where we met. I know you got a recording studio. You're doing screen print stuff, and it's kind of like a community screen print situation you got going on there. Kind of tell people about what that is, what it's like. You know, if they want to get a hold of you to do some things, what they would need to do for all that jazz.
Oh, you can just DM us on Instagram, Willie B Labs. But so the Willie B Labs is in the basement of the Nieves Dance Studio, which is 670 Grand Street. The Willie B Labs is 227 Manhattan Ave, but it's in the basement of a dance studio. And Will Nieves, the dance instructor for the Salsa Dance Studio, Nieves Dance Studio, started this print shop down in the basement. And he had a falling out with his business partners at the time. My daughter was just being born. This was 2 years ago. My daughter was just born, and I knew I had to. I just got off the road, man. I've been on the road for 10 years, and I knew I had to just switch up and find another business that was going to bring more money that I could sustain. So I found this spot, and everything had been invested in, but there was nobody in there. So I said, I don't know anything about printing, but I do know about fashion and style, and I know people that will want to print clothing, which are bands. I know a lot of bands. So I'm just going to build it out. And so I just put myself in there. Will, trusted me and felt the energy of me. And man, he just said, you know what, just do your vision. So my vision was, I'm gonna build a recording studio in here so that not only can we print clothing and our fashion and provide that service, but we'll build a recording studio so we can do these two things simultaneously. So it's a recording studio and a print shop at the same time. And now
by the time your album's done recording, you got
merch.
Your merch ready to walk out the door.
For sure. And I also brought in some lights and a white backdrop. So now we have a photo studio and a video studio also. So you can do everything in there. And so it's super rad, man. And I have a couple friends that work in reality television. And people started telling me, they're like, yo, you're a really interesting person. You know, you do all kind of interesting things. You know, we should film you. And so they started filming me. And as they started filming me, I said, you know what? If you film me, you're just filming my story. But if you start filming the studio, there's a lot of interesting people that come in the studio.
So many different stories coming through there. So many different people I've met just in like the 5 or 6 times I've been down there. It's like it's such a great nexus point to meet creativity and talent and inspiration. So
Yeah, and you know, like I always look to the universe. So like when I first got in the studio, I'd only been there 2 months. I have just taught myself how to print. I never printed anything for anybody ever. And my friends that work in reality television, they were working on Celebrity Apprentice, no, Celebrity Ink Master. Yeah, Celebrity Ink Master. And she called me. She was like, "Yo, Dave Navarro really likes your studio. He wants to know if you'll print some clothing for the show." So I was like, sick. So the first person I ever printed any clothes for ever in life was Dave Navarro. And then he started coming to the studio and we started printing clothing. I said, you know what? This studio is it, man. This is gonna pop. Like I really feel it now. So thanks to Big Brother Dave, like he really just was like, yeah. And so from there, I just kept flipping it, man. And I brought in graffiti artists to make it more beautiful. You know, I just feel energy. Everything got to be right. As soon as you walk down, you can feel it. And you can go to the Instagram and see. So as soon as you walk down the steps, you just feel the energy, you know? And so as my friends, they started filming me and I told them, yo, start filming me in the studio. And so we started filming a docuseries on the studio. And so now we have about 10 episodes and we're going to pitch that to people, you know, Netflix, Fuse, you know, wherever it's going to fit, it'll fit. Universal line that up. But man, it's been a great ride, you know, printing clothing and fashion and, you know, being a business owner. And, you know, it's just, I'm blessed, man. That's all I can say.
like I said, I appreciate you personally for having that situation and taking that like initiative to get a thing set up that allows for community creation, because I mean, that's the thing that I think is most important. The most important thing that we can do right now is to find and seek out other creators and get our energies and kind of mix them together and see what else we can create that's going to be more amazing than anything we ever thought of. Because I love being, like I said, I love being down in your studio, because just listening to conversations, it can spark 100 other thoughts in your own mind while you're watching other people really grind towards what they're trying to do. And I don't know, just something about watching other people achieve their dreams and goals and being around it. It's like wind. It's like the wind beneath your wings, and it raises you up and it makes you want to go for it.
That's facts, man. I feel like Andy Warhol is just a big influence on us all. You know what I mean? But what Andy really did was he found people that were like minded, and he just put them together, and he stepped back. And that's what I do. I just put people together, and I step back, and I just say like, well, like let your light bounce off each other, because like you said, man, you could just be at the studio and just hear people's conversations, and it'll just make you go like, man, that's a T-shirt, or that's a song, or yo, let's collab. And it's just like that's what you want, you know, and that's what the studio is, man. It's like a new factory, and it's in Brooklyn. I mean, you can't. What else can you say, really? You know?
No, I mean that's everything. I think we both kind of have that same mindset of like, I pride myself on a collector of talented people, not like just a collection of names that I know. Like I can put this guy with this guy. If someone comes to me and says, "Hey, I need to get a thing done," I want to know a guy that I can put them in touch with that's going to help bring out what they're trying to do, that knows the vision and understands the process. I'm really excited because I think starting next week, we're going to be able to start doing a video podcast, which I'm really excited about. A kid named Bashoy that I met down in Nashville that's really great videographer, has done a ton of stuff, and he's going to come in. We're going to get a little studio set up here in our new, as I was telling you right before we got on the show, I just got a new apartment in the middle of a pandemic, which was crazy. I don't know if you've ever apartment hunted in the middle of a pandemic before, but it's not something I would recommend. But we did find a place. It's great. I've got a space to build out a little studio. I'm kind of recording right now from the closet of the new space because I don't have any furniture in here in this room yet. So I got some pillows around me, a lot of sweaters. You can see this Homosat board that I bought at Home Depot like an hour ago before the show. But yeah, I'm looking forward to having that same kind of creative space where I can have people rotate in through here as well. I was telling him just the other day about all the great guys that are doing the stuff that you were talking about, the filming the show for Willie B Labs and stuff like that. These are great connections that I can send him over to you, and I'm going to. Bashoy, remind me to tell you to go over there. But yeah, no, it's there's the greatest currency in the world that'll get you the farthest in life is people. And we've talked about this before. Like there is no currency greater than connections, people having relationships and being able to build those relationships into something more. It'll get you, I don't know, 1,000 more things than money can. It'll get you the things that you want and the right things that money can't ever buy.
That's for facts, man. The number one thing in life is service, you know, and if you can be of service, it's like there'll always be a place for you. You know, you're an asset to the world. So if you can be of service in any room that you're in, there'll always be a place for you in the conversation, you know?
Yeah. No, I think that's, we had a conversation pretty similar to this one the first day we met. Yeah. I mean, there's nothing like cool, great, wonderful, talented people, man. Let's fill the world up with them.
It's facts, man. We got to, you know, real recognize real. So just keep putting it out. It's going to keep attracting back. And that's why you got to stay positive. It's so important to stay positive, because if your vibration and frequency is negative, just fucking guarantee that they're going to ring your bell with negativity. And just be prepared for negativity to come to your crib constantly. So you got to be positive so that, you know, when Amazon comes, it's positivity in the box, you know?
Yeah, there you go. So what else has been up with you, man? Let's just shoot the shit now. And so what's up? What do you want to talk about?
Chilling, man. I mean, I started my own YouTube channel. That's something I never did. I mean, I just been in the band for yeah.
I have watched a couple of your reaction videos. I forget which one. It was hilarious. Definitely go check. What's the Insta? I watched them on IG. What's your handle there?
Everything Doobie Duke Sims on. It doesn't
Doobie
matter
Duke
what
Sims.
it is. It's Doobie Duke Sims.
Yeah, you got some funny shit on there, sir.
Yeah, so it's like I started my own YouTube channel. I had the Shinobi Ninja YouTube channel. I got it over 100,000 subscribers. I got the award back here, but I haven't done anything for myself in so long that I was like, man, I gotta start building me back up. You know what I mean? And so that's what I just took this quarantine COVID vibe. I was like, you know what? I was watching all these YouTubers, the Dolan twins and fucking Jeffree Star and all these people, and I'm going like, yo, like, we're not making money, but they're making money, because every time they put a video out, 1 million views is $3,000. I just seen them just make $3,000 just right there. So I said, man, you know, if I could do this with the Shinobi channel, I could do it with my channel. And I've had my channel since 2006. I had 75 subscribers in 14 years. I never touched it. So now I have 840 subscribers in the last couple months. So I'm just gonna keep going with it, you know.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of how this thing started. I do like how you're saying about trying to raise your own profile as well as the projects that you're working on. That's something I do kind of struggle with. Like I haven't once mentioned my Instagram handle on this show, but I probably should. I'm Keith A. Carter. Go follow me as well. I am the host of this podcast. If you follow it on the internets, it's at the UB Podcast. But I am Keith Carter at Keith A. Carter. But back to the back. Yeah, no, I think it's important to separate yourself from the projects you work on. And if you really pour yourself so much into a thing that doesn't like naturally attach to yourself, you can kind of get swept away. And then as it gets success, you're still kind of left back where you were before you started. I kind of experienced this with a very popular t-shirt company that I started. I wouldn't say I'm any more well-known than I was before I started it, even though we sold hundreds of thousands of shirts. That I think it's an important thing, but also, I don't know. I kind of enjoy the anonymity of just being the guy that did stuff and nobody knows who you are. That can always be fun as well, but
that's cool. But it's not direct deposit. You know what I'm saying?
No, it does not pay the bills.
Yeah.
And in this time, it's kind of, you have to really think about, relearn how to capitalize on this economy that exists right now to support our family. Artists like us that don't have 9-to-5 jobs. There's no one waiting to hire us back when this thing ends, other than us. We're here to hire ourselves and do our thing.
And just talking about investing in yourself, man, and not getting caught up in the brand, like you said. You know what I mean? I mean, the mere fact that we're talking about that the name of this podcast is Shinobi Ninja. I mean, that tells you all you need to say, man, because it's not Doobie Duke Sims, it's Shinobi Ninja. we're still talking about, something I started in 2008. So I got to really keep putting into myself so that the next podcast we do is called Doobie Duke Sims. You know what I mean?
It is. It's actually called Doobie Duke Sims / Shinobi Ninja.
That's cool.
It's
That's
just,
cool.
I typed this in too fast, so. But yeah, right here, Doobie Duke Sims, Shinobi Ninja. I got you, man.
No, it's cool, but it's the point. It's the point that we're making. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it's exactly the point.
Get stuck in that umbrella, and the umbrella is great. And I grew up playing team sports my whole life. I played baseball in high school and college, but it's like the team is so important, but the individual gets left behind. Unless you're Michael Jordan, then you become that forefront guy. But even to be Michael Jordan, you gotta position yourself in the front, and that takes a certain ego. And I never had that ego. I was always wanted to do what's best for the band, but now I got to do what's best for me and my family.
I think it's important to, and I think it's just kind of overlooked a lot, but it's often talked about in other scenarios. But in order to actually service the team, the group, the better, you need to really concentrate on yourself and make sure you are at your peak best possible scenario, situation, whatever, where you are. If you're promoting yourself, you are promoting the group. So you probably opened for some pretty cool bands. Do you have who's your favorite group or person that you've opened for? What's your favorite show? Tell me the best of the best things that you experienced with Shinobi so far.
Well, one thing that was just beautiful for me as far as making dreams come true, it was not my personal dream. I can give you two. One was a personal dream, at least personally. Another one wasn't. But when we opened for 311, so we got a message to open for 311, 3 shows, all theater shows, 2,000 people theaters. And the guitar player and the drummer, the twins, that's their favorite group ever is 311. So for them to open for their favorite group was like a dream come true. So that in my heart felt good. That wasn't my personal dream, but I was, those were rad shows. A shout out to Peanut because he's always been a really good dude for us. But when we opened for Saigon Kick, that was a personal thing for me because I was just a huge Saigon Kick fan. I got into them really late, but just what an amazing group. And then when they finally reunited in 2013 for the first time since the late 90s with the original singer, they played in New York and we got to open for them. So that was just super rad. I mean, we've opened for George Clinton, Parliament Funkadelic, Erykah Badu, Fishbone, Slightly Stupid, Rise Against. I mean, we've opened for a lot of big bands, and but certain things mean more than others just personally.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, that was a big one. Saigon Kick. I love those guys, and those are and they became like friends. Not like the best of my friends, but dudes that have always showed me love, and I always show those guys love.
That must be nice to meet people that you really, really, really appreciate, and then being able to connect on a level that allows you to have and develop a friendship with them. I think is one of the most special things you can experience in the world is when you meet someone that you admire and respect, and then are afforded the opportunity to develop a relationship with them is so rewarding for me, at least. It's one of my favorite things to experience.
Yeah, man. I mean, validation is for artists. If you don't feel it inside you, then you need it externally. I've always felt it inside, so I never needed that validation, but I appreciated it. I mean, we've been, Corey Taylor from Slipknot, he played us on 2 of his shows on iTunes, and he's just always been a good dude to us. And I don't know, man, Flea, different people. It's just these people say that they like you in whatever capacity. It's a positive thing, man. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, everyone likes to be liked.
Yeah, it's good.
Love on love on love.
Love it,
it's
man.
The Brooklyn way.
Facts. That's facts. That's facts.
Oh, you were telling me about this snow milk thing. I saw this on the Instagrams. Tell me about the how this thing started and where we can catch whatever you got for sale.
So Snow Milk is on Instagram, Real Snow Milk, on Twitter, on Facebook is at Real Snow Milk. So when I first got the print shop, like you said, everybody knows that Shinobi Ninja sticker is just so famous that I was like, everybody already thinks it's a clothing line. Let me just make it a clothing line. And again, kind of circling back to the whole big topic of this whole show, which is about getting away from the umbrella. And eventually
Yeah.
I was just like, yo, I got to make my own brand. I can't just keep being this Shinobi Ninja guy. Like, I have to make my own thing. And I had this idea about snow milk, which is milk made from snow. And I said, man, what's that? That's just purity. You know what I mean? It's water. And there's nothing more pure than that. So I'm going to just make a clothing line called Snow Milk. And that's just a vision, man. And it's made from 100% real, pure snow. It's milk from snow,
I like it. Designs. Are you doing the designs?
Yeah.
You have a.
Yeah, I do all designs. You can find it on like Depop, Mercari, what's the other one? Poshmark. I mean, I put it everywhere, even OfferUp, or you could just DM me.
Do you have a website yet, or is that in the works?
No, I don't have a website. I mean, I don't
Keep it grassroots and organic for now.
Yeah, I mean, you can go to doobiedukeSims.com, but I haven't even put that on there. But yeah, just keeping it grassroots. But I just been creating my designs anyways. I just didn't have a brand on it, and now I just put that on there.
Yeah, I know. Every time I go into the shop, you've got something different. You're like, yo, I decided to print like 17 things on this one shirt, but it came out super dope. I don't know how you do it, man, but I love it. So anytime you're creating stuff, I'm happy to see it.
I appreciate that, man. Yeah, that's my personal style. It's just like all over prints, either repetitions or just a lot of different designs on one. So that just like one of one things. Make one of one things. I've done a lot of prints. I did Notorious, dude from Game of Thrones. What was the dude's name?
Yeah, Peter Dinklage.
Yeah, Peter Dinklage. That one did really good. It was Notorious. I forgot it just said Notorious, and it was just a picture of him in the Game of Thrones font. That was probably
as Tyrion Lannister.
Yeah, as Tyrion in Notorious. But I just do things, college dropout, in the gym thing, or whatever visions I have. I did an I Love Lucy's, where it's like Lucy with all the Lucy cigarettes from the bodega behind her, dollar Lucy cigarettes, and says I Love Lucy's instead of I Love Lucy. But whatever visions I have, I just do it because I have a shop to do it. So I don't need to ask anybody permission. I just wake up and just create what I want. The same as music, but now it's with fashion.
The I Love Lucy's one's probably my favorite one because that's such a New York thing. Like in Arkansas, you can't go to Citgo or wherever and be like, let me get a Lucy and whatever. So that's such a New York bodega. Like, I don't know. That's such a smart one. I love it. I love smart things.
Yeah,
that's
man.
What you do so well.
I appreciate that, man. Just gonna keep being creative. That's what I'm on earth to do. Just be myself.
All right. I like to do a closing time lightning round of rapid fire, hard hitting questions for my main guy, Mr. Doobie Duke Sims. These are questions that are guaranteed to have people approaching you on the street talking about how controversial your answers were. So, are you ready?
I'm ready
to close it out.
Let's get it.
All right. Mets or Yankees?
Mets. Done.
Knicks or Nets? And you're wearing a Nets hat, so
done. You already know the answer to that question.
All right. Would you rather open for your favorite artist of all time or work with your favorite producer of all time?
Work with my favorite producer.
All right. Why is that?
I mean, I know what it feels like to open for your favorite artist, and you know what? It's only a couple hours, and you're probably not going to be in the same green room anyways. You're probably not even going to see them. So trust me.
True. I'd rather be in
the studio creating
and building that bond and relationship and the creation. When you create something together, it's an impermeable bond.
That's facts.
All right. Let's see. Jay-Z or Nas?
Nas.
Even though he's Queen's boy.
Nas.
I love Nas. For me, it's Nas when it comes to storytelling. No one tells a story like that guy. And it's Jay-Z when it comes to just the hot lines. Nas made it a hot line. He made it a hot song.
Yeah, I mean,
as he said,
it's gonna be controversy no matter who you choose, but I'm going with Nas.
Nas, all right. On the same front, Wu-Tang or Tribe?
I'm gonna say Wu-Tang, but I'm gonna put a little asterisk because Jarobi is the homie, and he's been a great supporter of Shinobi, man. He used to come to all the shows, and I've even sang on some of his tracks. So I'm gonna say Wu-Tang just because I really grew up with Wu-Tang, and I can't even front like I never had a Tribe album, but I got to put the asterisk because Jerobi is the homie.
All right. See, Nike or Adidas?
Adidas.
Okay, so Adidas is like ingrained in the culture of New York City. I've always been an Adidas guy. Like, for me, initially, it was because I wear a size 13, and a Nike size 13 is too small, and a Nike size 14 is too big, but an Adidas 13 is just right. And then I just, being the only sneaker shoe company I could wear, I obviously loved them tremendously and give them all my support. But when I came to New York, everybody else was wearing Adidas too. Like, unlike anything I've ever seen, because everywhere else it's all Nike all the time. But is that like a New York thing?
I have no idea, man. I don't own any Adidas shoes. I have a bunch of Nike shoes, but I was gonna say if I was gonna wear Adidas, like I would probably wear Adidas like jumpsuits. I just like the jumpsuits. I mean, you know what I mean, and some of the shoes, classic shoes. I mean, but Nike's cool too. Other than the sweatshop factories and all that type of stuff, but that's another conversation for a different time.
Yeah, it is. Sweatshop factories or regular? Let's see. Are you a beer or a liquor guy?
Liquor. Jameson on the rocks always. Shout out to all the bartenders. If you see me at the bar, just throw it on there, man. Jameson on the rocks, locked it.
Hey, as soon as bars open up, man, you're gonna and whenever that happens, I will find myself behind a stick. You come in, I got a JMO on the rocks waiting for you.
I appreciate that.
All right, same kind of vein, but a little on a mellower tip. Indica or sativa?
I'm gonna be honest with you, man. My nickname is Dewey. My mom named me Doobie, and I've been smoking weed since I was like 12 years old. I don't even know the difference. Yeah, I just been smoking for so long, and it always works. It just always works. I mean, I don't really know.
I smoked it, and then I got high, and then I was good.
Yeah, I don't even know.
All right, the most controversial question. We've had 4 weeks now running. Top sheet or comforter?
What does that mean?
So when you get into bed at night and you cover yourself up to snuggle up, do you use a top sheet only, or do you add a layer of comfort with a comforter?
Oh, okay. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't even sleep with a blanket.
No, nothing. No sheet, no nothing?
Nah, I don't sleep with nothing. I don't know. It's hot.
He's like, I sleep standing up with all my clothes on and no sheets.
And some headphones and Logic.
Always ready.
Got the keyboard, got Logic. I'm just making a beat.
There you go. I'm a top sheet guy because I'm hot. I run hot all the time. And yeah, we're still only talking like a quarter coverage, but I feel you there with the no sheet thing. I like to have it just so I can pretend like I want to cover up before I kick it all off. I just realized the last episode is the first time I've ever done this where I let the main guest do this, but I'm going to actually extend it over to this week because I forgot. And I like you. You're one of my favorite dudes. And I want you to have something to say. So I'm going to let you hop on point. I'm going to become the service bartender. And you got however much time you want. Say whatever you need to say. Let the people know what you want to hear.
Okay, to all my friends out there, the most important thing about life is service, providing service. And kindness is one of the best services that you can provide. Compassion is just an important thing to teach. Empathy and understanding. You know what I mean? Don't get caught in the color game. Don't get caught in the money game. It's all an illusion. Stick with the happiness game. That's what life's really about. It's about happiness and all those zeros and dollar bills and your clothes. I mean, I love to dress fashionable, but it's just meaningless. It's all about your heart and how you lead. Lead with your heart. Lead with kindness and lead with love. That's my Quaker upbringing. So shout out to all the Quakers. Keep spreading the love to everybody out there. And it's a trying times right now in 2010. They try to throw you into colors, whether it's the color of your state or the color of your skin. Don't get caught in any of that. You know what I mean? Just live with your heart, man, and just understand that we all little grains of sand on the beach of life, and our lives are done like this. So it's just a matter of like, what did you provide? How did you uplift? You know what I mean? The glass is half full. And what did you add to make it more full? End scene.
I love it, man. You always got the best things to say. I want to thank Mr. Doobie Duke Sims for joining me on the Unemployed Bartender podcast. This was episode 4. We made it this far. We're probably one of the top 10 podcasts for and by unemployed bartenders out there somewhere on some list. So we're getting our uploads up and our downloads down, and all those things are going well. But I appreciate you for joining me. You're all the way in Massachusetts, outside of the city right now, doing the hunker down family thing. But yeah, man, thanks for joining me so much. I will catch you later, man.
I love you, Keith, man. Peace.
All right, brother.
Peace.
All right, joining us on the Unemployed Bartender podcast for our Guest Bartender segment, we actually had someone else scheduled for this, but they dropped out, and we were lucky enough to get the amazing J.R. Goleno.
Hello.
And, yeah, excited to have you, man. You're actually the first guest on the show that I've not ever met, I don't believe, unless we met while I was in Nashville. But yeah, the only connection I have, you're at Crying Wolf, right?
Yeah. I've been at the Crying Wolf for about a little over 4 years now.
Okay, I've been there a few times, but one of my regulars I was a bartender at the Gold Rush for the 9 months I was in Nashville.
Nice.
And sadly, former Gold Rush, but
yeah.
Blue was a regular of mine.
Oh yeah, dude. Blue was a great guy with us.
I love Blue. So he brought me over there a couple times and introduced me around to people. So we've probably met at that point, but anyway, nice to officially meet you.
Yeah, great to meet you. So I'm generally the kind of the more daytime guy there most of the time.
Okay.
So if you were happy hour drinking at any point, you most definitely saw me.
I'm usually happy hour working.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about what you've been doing in the bar world, kind of where you've been, where you're going?
Sweet. Yeah. I've been at the Crying Wolf for a little over 4 years now. I kind of hopped on there, not really knowing much anything in bar life before that. It was actually my first gig in the bar world, and kind of threw myself into it with basically everything I had. My job mostly there is kind of the everything manager. I kind of started as like operations and kind of the back end stuff, and then slowly weaseled myself in behind the bar as well. And now I do all of the menus for the bar. I usually have generally 2 or 3 different cocktails on every menu we do, and I'm one of the big consultants on that. I've done a couple of random cocktail competitions now, a couple of ones with Jack Daniels, the Copper and Kings Brandy Comp, a couple of those that we've done throughout the years too.
Well, that's exciting. Tell me about that Jack Daniel one. I didn't do that one. I've done a couple different ones up here in New York.
Oh, nice.
That were more in, like all brands, like
Yeah.
New York City Cocktail Expo. I did a couple years ago. That was fun. But yeah, tell me about this Jack Daniel ones.
Yeah, we did they put out a thing on online a couple of years back. I think they're doing it every year right now, but it was the Jack Daniel's whiskey sour competition.
Okay.
And basically anything, if you use Gentleman Jack and made it something resembling a whiskey sour, then you were able to do it. And I got picked to be kind of top 10 in the Southeast, and they flew me down to Atlanta and kind of showed me around there and made my cocktail live, and failed miserably, but had a lot of fun with it.
It is a lot of, so I did Heineken did a thing a couple years ago for like their Heineken Star Bartender. And so I did the one for New York City. I was a finalist for that, and then was a finalist. It was me and one other guy. Up where the winner gets a trip to compete in the Worlds in Amsterdam, and
Oh wow.
the loser gets 2 Yankees Red Sox Champions box seats, which I'm a huge Yankees fan also. So I was like, either way, I'm good here.
Yeah, it's not a terrible consolation prize.
But yeah, I did not win. But it was fine. It was fun. It was very nerve-wracking to like. Everyone was there that was subsequently eliminated, and they're all
absolutely.
They picked their favorites and they're cheering you on. So you got a cheering section, and I don't know, it's fun. But
yeah, it was pretty interesting for sure. There was like 3 or 4 of us from Nashville, I think, with that round, and I didn't know how fancy the cocktail should have been. I basically made a whiskey sour, but I used pineapple juice and like a cinnamon agave in it, because I didn't want to use egg white.
Yeah.
And so I kind of took
get
the
the
froth
froth
of the
from
pineapple.
pineapple.
Yeah. got frothed pineapple and a little bit extra viscosity from the agave. And then the guy next to me told me that he made a tobacco tincture from his family's tobacco farm. And the other person next to me was like, "Oh yeah, I pH balanced orange juice because I'm from Florida because I want it to be closer to lemon juice."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Dear Lord, all right, I'm way out of my league right
And
now."
the other guy was Gentleman Jack.
Yeah. The other guy, and then Gentleman Jack was just sitting there, staring at us the whole time. So
Do it right. It better be delicious.
yeah, it's like, this better be tasty. I'm like, yeah, I put cinnamon on top because it looked pretty. I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah. Hey, we've all been there, man.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So
I
you got,
learn quick.
yeah. There's nothing that'll teach you, what you're doing wrong than entering in a competition and seeing what
Oh,
everyone else is doing
absolutely.
right.
Yeah. Oh, that's what I ended up. That's why with the Copper and Kings one we did, I did some kind of a brandy tiki play on a Godfather, and so I ended up like making my own smoked orgeat and smoking ice for my cube for it.
Okay.
And I'm like, oh yeah, this is totally cool.
I'm not mad
And
at it.
then yeah, and then the other guy, he has a whole scene that he's playing out where at one point he had somebody sitting in the crowd with a UV flashlight, and he had UV reactive contacts in and had the guy flash him during a certain part of the cocktail. And I'm like, all right, I still have a lot to learn apparently. This is cool.
Yeah. I don't know if that makes the drink taste any better though. So.
He had Midori in his drink too, so
Okay.
I mean, obviously that's going to be cooler.
Yeah. I think the favorite one I ever did was New York Cocktail Expo, like I said, a couple of years ago. That one I did. I had this. You ever heard of Wheeler's Gin out of New Mexico?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, so those guys actually got a chance to meet the owner,
Awesome.
which is rightly before that, and he has a couple different, just amazing whiskeys that he's doing. But the Wheeler's Gin is a desert gin that's got 5 different botanicals that are grown within, I think, 10 miles of the distillery.
Super local.
And yeah, it's delicious. So
Yeah.
they wanted to be my sponsor for the thing, so I decided to do a New Mexican themed drink. So if you've ever been to New Mexico, their Green Hatch chilies is the thing.
Oh yeah, that's
everything.
all I think of.
So I did a like a roasted Green Hatch chili syrup,
Oh hell,
and
nice.
added basil and pineapple juice, and it was this. I don't know. It was so delicious. It was like sweet but spicy and earthy, and it's just real smooth. I liked it. It did okay. I didn't win or anything, but
You
people
felt
told me that they really enjoyed
yeah,
it.
you felt good about it at that point, right?
But the best thing was the name. It was the New Mexican.
That's incredible.
So I was proud of that one.
Yeah, that's what I think. I think my cocktail for the Copper and Kings one ended up being, I called it the Deadbeat Godfather because I'm a hardcore kid at heart, and it's a Every Time I Die song, and so it kind
There
of
you
worked out.
I like it. I work with it. So I don't know. Like I said, I've this is the first time we're
Yeah.
communicating. I really appreciate you being just on call like a boss manager would be if
It's how I
things
do.
needed to go down.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
sleep,
'cause-
man. It's fine.
Because I had someone call out, and then I was able to call in the next guy, and I like I said, I really do appreciate it. So, okay, so I understand that you've been at Crying Wolf since 2016.
Yeah.
And so I also understand you were working the night that the tornado came through a little bit earlier this year.
Yeah.
Can
Yeah.
you tell me about what that was like? I can't imagine.
I was there during the day.
Okay.
But I got the frantic phone call from our head bartender when that was happening, so I got to hear a lot of it.
I can imagine. That's
Yeah.
crazy. And you guys were pretty much right in the path. if
Oh
I'm not
yeah,
mistaken.
we're right at 9th and Woodland.
Yeah.
And so Fieldhouse Jones across Main Street from us, they got hit really hard, and then literally 2 buildings over is Basement East, and everybody
Yeah, it was
saw the
gone.
pictures of it was basically gone. But crazy enough, they're back up and running, or not up and running yet, but they've got a wall again, which is
Yeah.
pretty incredible.
That is good.
Yeah, but we were actually we had a Monday night dance party every week called Freak Me, and so we were at capacity. obviously.
Yeah.
But yeah, we had a lot of people in that bar when it rolled through, and we were actually there were some people outside, and so our security guys were dragging people in and kind of throwing people under the bar, under tables, however we could, and we made it through. I mean, the bar is still standing. We did sustain some damage. One of our three HVAC units fell over, so we had a nice little hole in the roof. We did have another little corner uh, of the roof get some damage too, and sadly that one is right above our main electrical box. And so when our electrician came by the next day and said, "Hey, so you guys made it through this. Keep the power off so you don't lose the bar to a massive electrical fire instead." So
Yeah.
yeah, we're actually we're still down right now. We still don't have power. Because literally
Do y'all have a time frame for when y'all are going to be back up and running, or?
not fully yet. So we 2 weeks later, the everything shut down for COVID, and that definitely messed with a lot of the timelines initially because getting permits, working with insurance companies, with everybody on skeleton crews, just slowed down everything really hard. And now we're waiting on Metro codes and their permitting side for the repairs. We need like 5 separate permits for things to get started. We've got 2 approved right now. One should hopefully be this coming like next week. One we're waiting another 2 weeks, and then the last one, hell if I know.
Yeah. So even once that's completed, I'm not super familiar with what the state of Nashville's bar scene is right now in terms of what laws and like I've had a couple different New York bartenders on the last few weeks, and then someone from Boston. But I would love to hear just kind of the general state of the bar in Nashville.
It's a mess. Really, we're doing the whole phased reopening thing. There's 4 phases. Phase 3 was the first one that bars could open. Before that, it was kind of a tiered thing where if you're a restaurant or a bar that serves food, you can do like a 50% cap or 75% cap. And then once things started spiking again here in Nashville, they kind of moved everything back to phase 2 and told all the bars that they had to close for 2 more weeks essentially. So right now it's like August 15th, I think, is the next date where they say bars can potentially open back up. Um, and most people, all the like small bars are following it,
Yeah.
and all of us that really care are. But then you've got things like Broadway and downtown that they just really want their money, and so they don't care at all.
So are you not seeing any sort of city or statewide, you know, retribution to this? You know, here in New York City, it's a 3 strikes and you're out rule right now, and you get your liquor license suspended from the
Right.
state liquor board. And the list of places that this is occurring is rapidly growing.
Oh yeah.
But we're also, we're a state that's, as of today, I think 1% of our tests are coming back positive. We're in a much better place than I think Tennessee is right now.
Yeah.
If I know you guys have the cases are still rising.
Yeah.
Deaths are
Yeah. I
still
think
rising. So
I saw a thing from the mayor today on Instagram saying that the 2 week was starting to drop. We were up to like 400 cases a day, where I mean, in Davidson County, that's
yeah,
pretty crazy.
yeah,
And now, I mean, most of them I've been seeing still in the like 100 to 200 cases a day, which is still too much. Bars, they were trying to enforce something, but there was never much said. I know that at one point, like Kid Rock's downtown, and I think like Rippy's or Honky Tonk Central or one of those, they were basically blatantly ignoring things, and the beer board took away their permit for like 5 days. But I mean, your margins aren't that great on beer anyway, so
yeah.
liquor's
So
where
it's
you
some
actually
minor
make your money.
slaps on the wrist.
Yeah, yeah. So it was never anything really serious that we saw.
Okay, so so based on what you've told me, sounds like you got your bar industry kind of started about 4 years ago.
Yep.
What was life like for JR before that?
Well, I moved to Nashville in 2010. Um, I made the mistake of moving here. We had a massive flood back in 2010 in May, and I moved here literally the week of that flood.
Oh,
Uh,
nice.
so yeah, I had a couple friends out here already, and I call them. I'm from California initially, and so I called them. I'm like, "Hey, all right, everything's packed, ready to go." And they're like, "You may want to wait. It's raining really hard here right now." I'm like, "Well, I'm already packed, and I've got a couple day drive ahead of me, so we'll see." And so got here and kind of just started helping out with cleanup and stuff like that for the first couple weeks before I got a job.
So you jumped
Um,
in and earned your Nashville stripes
yeah,
right away.
yeah, I felt like I mean, this is gonna be my city. May as well
Yeah,
do something to help it out.
there you go.
And yeah, I was working with that for a little while, and then I actually fell into a job at the Lexus dealerships here. Uh, and
Nice.
I've never been a salesman, but I started off. I'm a photographer on the side as well, and so they needed somebody to take pictures of cars for their inventory purposes and all that kind of stuff. And I had a camera in my hand for the interview, so they hired me, I think, because I was there.
Well, that's great. So
Yeah.
is that all you did for him? Was just take pictures?
I started off doing that. Then after about a year, they lost their marketing manager, and so after that, they said, "Hey, you're creative. Why don't you do all of our advertising
You're like, yeah.
too?"
What about your boy?
I'm like, "Well, I can do advertising." So I
Yeah.
started doing all the print ads and billboards and events and stuff like that. And then they started a thing back in 2013, I think it was 2012 maybe, uh, where once you bought a car, all the bells and whistles and stuff got overwhelming for your average Lexus customer.
So you showed up and took a picture of him.
Yeah.
To...
I'm like, so my boss told me, he's like, "Hey, you're in front of a computer all the time. You're obviously techie. Why don't you teach these Lexus owners, which are not generally the youngest, techiest, savviest people, how to use their cars as well?" So my job for a few years after that was to do that, and teaching old people how to use Bluetooth gets really tiring after a while.
I can imagine. I actually worked in 2003 for like four or 5 months. I was a Volkswagen salesperson,
Oh, there you
and
go.
I got Volkswagen certified and did all that stuff, and got to
Yeah.
travel around and test drive cars and things like that. But it was fun. But after that, I was a finance manager at Infinity for like a couple months.
Oh yeah, so all the
Um,
numbers.
yeah, just did a couple fun things with cars, but that's fun.
Hell yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, before you got to Nashville, you were involved in some music making.
I was. I've been a bass player for about 20 years. My talent does not represent how long I've been playing, but I've been able to play. I played in a dozen different garage bands in high school and all that kind of stuff. And then once I was in college, basically every summer for college, I would just go on tour with a band, and I was in a band called Dismas for one summer. We went kind of up a West Coast run, went up Northern California, and then kind of cut over to a festival in Idaho and cut back down. Um, After that, I was in a band called Memphis Belle, where we just kind of roamed around in our van for a couple months and tried to play wherever shows we could. Um,
Sounds like the life.
yeah,
Usually people start a band once they get to Nashville, not playing a bunch of bands before they get there.
right. Yeah, I kind of moved to Nashville to get away from touring and all that kind of stuff. So it worked out.
In actuality, it's a great place to set up roots to work in the music industry without having to tour because everyone's
Absolutely.
coming back home there.
Yep. Yeah.
But yeah, so tell me about this cocktail you're gonna make for us today.
Awesome. Well, this one, it's one I've been kind of playing with more during quarantine because I have a small collection of booze in my house, but I actually just moved about a month and a half ago, so I
I
have.
moved today.
Oh, really? Oh
I'm not
man.
I'm not even all the way moved in yet, but I have I have a room in this new space that I moved to for my home studio that I record this in. So this is the first podcast being recorded in my new home studio that is currently just a collection of sound dampening soundboards with a bunch of sweaters kind of strategically placed everywhere to hopefully deaden this room a little bit because it's super wide open. But
Well, congrats on the
looking
new space. Hell yeah.
thank you. Very much looking forward to getting it set up. But carry on.
Yeah, I've been trying to kind of same kind of thing. I've been unpacking boxes as I go. So I got my room set up, got the living room set up, and haven't really been able to unpack a whole lot of bar and kitchen stuff yet. So I haven't been able to make my own simple syrup. I don't have the like lime juice that I normally like, any sort of like fresh juices and stuff. So it's been a lot
Yeah.
of me just, hey, does this booze go with this booze?
Yeah, doing some
And
ones and
yeah. So that's
equally mixing things.
yeah. I've actually got one of my art pieces I've been working on is actually a play on a Black Flag logo that's got 4 jiggers on it, and it
Okay,
just says equal parts on it. And so my equal
I like
parts
it.
cocktails have been my favorite things to do right now.
There you go.
So I've been this one. It's not quite equal parts, but it's a play on a Negroni, which is. Um, but I was I've been messing around with some of my California roots, and there's a company called St. George that just do really amazing products.
Very familiar. Love their stuff.
Yeah, their
Their pear
gin.
liqueur is great.
Oh, the spice pear liqueur is one
Hmm.
of my favorites. That with some rye whiskey, and I usually like throw a rosemary sprig in there. It is
Okay.
tight. Yeah, I've been their gin's always been one of my favorites. The Terroir gin is so good. And one of my favorite liqueurs, like I tend to love. I'm a fan of Fernet and Chartreuse and Basque and all these kind of
Yeah, it's
stuff
the
that
bartender's handshake
yeah,
drinks.
yeah. I'm like, nobody else likes these like herbal, bitter garbage stuff, and once you become a bartender, somehow it just feels like your soul.
It
So
just clicks in your head, and
yeah,
you're like, "Oh, I
exactly.
do like this now."
So I've been their Bruto Americano is their liqueur, and it's just unreal. Um, and so yeah, I've been playing
So
around
you're
with
doing that in
throwing
place of a sweet vermouth.
the Bruto I've been doing in place of the Campari, since it's got more of that like bitter side to it.
Yeah.
So I've been throwing gin and Bruto, and then for some reason I didn't have any sweet vermouth on me, because how often do I actually use that? And it's gone very bad, the one bottle that I had forever. So there's this company out of Ventura where I actually moved from called Chirot, and it's a spearmint, aloe, cucumber, muskmelon, Wada V liqueur, and it's like
Okay.
minty, delicious summer in a glass, basically. And I'd been playing with it with Bruto already, the kind of sweet and bitter on that one. And so I'm like, well, what if I throw some of that into this? And so it's like an ounce and a half of the Terroir gin, an ounce of the Bruto, and then a half ounce of the Chirot, because Chirot will overtake anything if you put more than half an ounce in it.
Wow.
And so throw that together with a just a easy orange peel if I've got it. Otherwise, screw that. I don't really care that much.
Do you have any home prep tips for people that want to make this cocktail for themselves?
uh, Ice is a big deal. One of the things I did mess with it a little bit when I was still in the bar, and having wet ice in like a well at the bar makes the cocktail much worse than having some good, really cold ice that you're stirring it down with. So keep
If you want the right dilution, you
yeah,
need to have the right ice.
yeah, yeah. Have the right ice for the right job. And so yeah, having good just freezer ice is much better for it. It doesn't dilute it quite as much while still chilling it down. Um, Big Cube is always your friend when actually doing the presentation with it too.
Yeah, large surface area is great
Oh
for.
yeah,
So this is a stirred cocktail.
yeah, yeah.
For people at home that don't have a stir glass to stir down, what's the obviously like a large cup or something like that. Is there
Yeah, I
anything
mean, if
specific
you've
that you use?
if I don't have a standard mixing glass with me, usually a pint glass will do the trick in a pinch. I've thrown it in a pint glass even if I didn't have a spoon on me, just kind of swirl it around for 45 seconds or so in a glass. And
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
my favorite technique when I don't have anything to stir with. Just give the old swish around.
yeah, just swish it around for a while and see what happens. I mean, I being a bartender when you're making your own drinks,
That's
you
how I
obviously
make every
care
single
so
drink of
much.
my own. It's like, yeah, it's whatever.
I'm like, I care for other people. For me, nah.
As
If it's
as the quickest I can get it to be palatable, that's the goal.
yeah, as soon as it's cold enough and doesn't taste like just all of the booze, then
Yeah.
it's good enough for me.
So what is this play on a Negroni called?
I'm actually I mean, hell, I'm looking for names on this. It was just kind of my California Dreamin' was the uh
How about we
working
call it
title.
Chase the Sun?
Chase the Sun. I like that. I think that may be a good option for it.
Yeah,
Chase
and
the
then you could
Sun.
do maybe float a little red orange something on it.
Ooh, yeah.
I don't know what the color of the rest of the drink is,
It
but
it kind of turns its because Bruto has more of kind of a purple than your standard like Campari orange, so
yeah,
it already has kind of a nice light violet color to it, which is really cool for having the orange peel in there. Gives it a nice contrast.
perfect.
Hell
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I've been doing that one, and my other favorite right now has been just the easiest cocktail in the world. I learned it from a guy named Chris, who owns Hemingway's, or sorry, Ernest is what they call now. Um,
Oh yeah, out by the old fort thing. What's it called?
yeah, Fort Houston.
Fort Houston. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, right in that
I've
area.
been in there once. I tried to go there, and it was like I guess 10 minutes before they opened,
Oh,
and I was
I want a
wanting to
drink
do something.
now.
Yeah, I need a drink now, damn it! So I left that area and I never went back.
Yeah, yeah, that's usually what
But
happens with that area.
I would love to go back. I just never did.
Yeah, he taught me a drink because he and I have an obsession with blue drinks.
Okay.
And so we just started, and also he really loves this Chirot crazy minty summer drink. And so we messed with a drink together where it was literally like two
Oh, you're
ounces
saying
of
Chirot, like the aloe,
yeah, yeah,
their
the aloe
aloe
liqueur.
liqueur?
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
actually oh, it's at Labonita Funk. I'm friends with she's the Chirot rep here in New York City.
Oh,
She
really?
worked at the Dead Rabbit.
Oh,
Uh,
hell yeah.
I believe she's still working with Chirot. But yeah, I have actually a little Chirot pen that she gave me when I was at the Cauldron pub
Oh,
on Stone
that's
Street.
awesome. I would love. I need to find one of those Chirot pens
If
somewhere.
I'll get a hold of her and then I'm gonna get you something sent out since you're such a
Yes,
big Chirot
dude,
guy.
I
So
love me some Chirot. Yeah, I've been. Yeah, we did this cocktail. It was basically a full 2 ounce pour of Chirot because we like it.
because
About
yeah,
a because we're crazy. Half ounce of blue curacao. The Giffards because it's the only one that actually tastes solid. Um, we did like a quarter to a half ounce of yellow chartreuse because why not throw more herbally on everything? And
yeah.
then
So that's a
then
lot.
some, yeah, and then we also decided because the color difference looked cool, so we threw in like 3 or 4 dashes of Peychaud's bitters in there too.
All right, a
And
little red it up a little bit.
yeah, yeah, it made it kind of a cool little float on the top with it, and it was pretty fun. And so I got really kind of addicted to it, and nobody else I've ever given it to has ever liked it, but
Yeah,
I really enjoy it. So
it sounds like it would be overpoweringly sweet yet bitter.
yeah, yeah, there's a weird. I mean, it's so sweet because I mean the Chirot is like 50
Like
proof and
overpoweringly sweet. I don't like sweet things though, so
oh
it's
yeah, so it's for me it's like it's summer plus dessert, so
yeah.
it feels okay for that. Plus, I mean you let it sit with some ice for a while and it tames it enough.
Anything sweeter than Maker's Mark bourbon on the rocks is too sweet for me.
See, that's I'm a rum fan, so sweet is
Okay.
in my world already.
Yeah, no, I gotta have my rum nice and dark
Yeah.
if I'm going to enjoy it. It's the way intended to. But
Yeah, yeah. I
uh,
mean, that's give me some OFTD rum
yeah,
any day. That's just that on the rocks is also a wonderful choice.
yeah. Yeah. It's just like I said, a beer shot. It's
Right.
local. If I walk into a bar, it's local IPA,
Yeah.
unless I am familiar with all the local IPAs, but I'm going to try the new ones that come out, and then a shot of JMO. Repeat 5 to 7 times.
Yeah, that feels pretty good. Yeah, we had. I mean, hell.
At least it used to be. I haven't done that in 6
Right.
months. Now,
Like, what do I do now?
I don't know.
I'm gonna have to relearn.
Pouring myself shots at JMO. Like, all right.
Yeah, I just do it at home instead.
Yeah, it's hard to get service here, though.
Have somebody make me a drink just feels like such a weird idea right now.
Yeah, I mean, everything, like this whole thing obviously has impacted us in, tremendous and like terrible ways.
Oh yeah.
But the biggest impact it's had on me, I think, is just the way in which like you see things, and it's just, things don't seem right anymore. Everything just seems like it's a little bit off, like it's a glitch.
Oh,
you
yeah.
see a movie and people are touching it, like, wait, oh shit, it's a movie. It came out 10 years ago.
I was just looking at it the other
it's
day.
fine.
I'm like, what? Why are these people hugging? Don't hug! Oh God! Don't you know there's a quarantine? No.
I was like, oh, but this is pre-recorded. And then now I know if stuff's live or not because I like look and see if there's a crowd.
Yeah.
No crowd. Okay. No crowd. We're good.
Yeah,
There's a crowd. No, screw this.
Yeah, we've got the Preds are playing right now for like hockey's back, and watching one of
Yeah.
those games, I'm like, why are they piping in crowd noise? This feels so awkward.
It's, I guess it's probably better than just complete silence and just them just swishing
grunting
through.
and squishing, yelling at each other, and
They're like, fuck you. I'm like, oh, we can't broadcast this at all.
this doesn't work. We need to just mute everybody.
Now, but see, now what I would love to see happen is HBO or Showtime or one of these premium channels pick up the games and have no crowd noise
Hear
and
them.
then mic everybody
Oh
up.
God, just everybody just fuck you and your mother. Oh God.
Yeah, I would pay money, pay-per-view.
I could
Just a
see
separate-
that. I would buy that.
I'm
I'm not gonna
I'm
buy that.
100% in.
If we get in on it, we don't have to pay for it though, right?
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause
That's the way everything works.
I'm an out-of-work bartender. I don't have money to spend on pay-per-view right now.
No. All right, so if you've listened to the show, you know, but at the end of every episode, I like to let the guest bartender hop on point. I get on service bar and let you say whatever you would like to say to close this show out. It's your forum. It's your words, whatever you want to impart upon the listeners of this podcast. It's now your turn.
Dear Lord. All right. Way to put me on the spot. I love it.
I like to see, my favorite part is I don't tell anybody this, so it lets me know if you've listened to my podcast or not.
I obviously am a long-time listener, first-time. No.
Long time,
no,
first time.
Tip your bartender. Drink.
Oh,
Good drinks.
hey, actually, you did remind me.
Yeah.
Please do. At the end of every cocktail segment,
Oh.
happy hour cocktail segment, sponsored by Chirot.
Yeah,
maybe. Who
hopefully.
knows? Send us bottles of Chirot.
Please send me all the Chirot.
But at the end of every one of these things, we like to give everyone the opportunity to tip their bartender for all the wonderful cocktail knowledge that they've imparted upon them. If you don't mind giving us your Venmo, we can make sure that gets included on the post when we link the cocktail to the website, and people listening to the podcast can send you something. So
Perfect.
what do you got?
My Venmo is it's OneLog. ONELOG.
And do you have a Cash App in case people
Yep, exact same
are
thing.
Cash Appers?
OneLog. ONELOG. It's my last name backwards, which makes life easy.
I love it. All right, so back to what we were saying.
Back to the sign off.
And go.
And tip your bartenders. If you do go out during all of this stuff, treat them with all of the love and respect. Wear a damn mask, please, and love on everybody because from a distance, because we really need that
6
right
feet
now.
apart.
Yeah. Everybody, Air 5, and
Yeah.
That's all we need right now, man. Everybody needs all the love and
I
affection
100%
from far away
completely
that
agree.
you can.
And on that note, I really appreciate you jumping on last minute.
Hell yeah! Thanks for having me.
A great guest. I really appreciate you sharing all of the knowledge that you have with us and telling us some stories about Nashville.
Appreciate it.
Don't log off because we're going to talk after this.
Perfect.
So, all right. Appreciate you, man.
All right, see ya.
Peace.